we have a private contract with a local mortuary who the facilities are up to par with the government morgue, but it is not a government facility. And due to security concerns and the opportunity to ensure that we want to preclude images and other things, what may have occurred in that exam going public, we used a facility that we knew was secure. I've already addressed that.
You said superficial wounds. Were they on his wrist?
As I said, they were on the inside of his left wrist.
Okay.
There's been reports that he was thin. Do you have what his body weight was?
We're not getting into specific questions like that. Those statements can be asked at the future press conference. Yes, ma'am.
In the house?
Well, his personal assistant found him, so I'm not sure the direct. His wife went to sleep at 10:30 p.m. the prior evening.
What is the name of the assistant?
We're not releasing that information at this time.
So, Lieutenant, the only people that you believe were in the home when Mr. Williams died was his wife and himself, correct?
Correct.
The personal assistant arrived that morning?
Correct.
Were the children of the wife in the home at the time?
As this gentleman just asked, the only people we believe at this time to be in the home was Mr. Williams and Mr. Williams' wife. I've already answered about the note. We're not discussing that at this time.
You said the wife left. When did she return? In the morning.
Mr. Williams' wife returned shortly after Sheriff's Office personnel arrived on scene and Fire Department personnel arrived on scene. She was aware of his passing at a very early time in this incident.
Was it just coincidental that she returned at that time? Or
I'm not going to get into those specifics at this time. I'm going to take about 5 more questions, and then we're going to move on. So number 1 here. It's a reasonable summation that he passed between 10:30 p.m. when he was last seen alive and 12 o'clock when the fire department arrived on scene. What we'll be working on is trying to narrow that down if it's possible. Correct.
Can you give a little more detail on the room where he was found?
No, sir. Not at this time. He was inside the home at 95 St. Thomas.
What was he doing when his wife went to bed?
Lieutenant Boyd, you said the investigation continues now. What exactly are you all looking for? Who are you hoping to speak with as we move forward?
We want to, in an investigation that's ongoing, although the preliminary indication right now indicates this is a suicide, we want to be thorough. We want to make sure that we cover all our bases, dot all our I's, cross all our T's to make sure that we're not forgetting anything else, that we're not being presumptive and overlooking something that's critical to the case. So we're going to continue to review individuals who may have information that's pertinent to our case, medical information, medical history. It's a comprehensive standard coroner investigation. Mr. Williams' case is consistent with any investigation that we conduct for any citizen who passes within the boundaries of Marin County. Unfortunately, due to the notoriety of Mr. Williams, that's why all of you are here today.
But you're ruling out foul play completely.
We will, at the final conclusion of at the final press conference, we will make that final determination. But at this time, our indication is that it is a suicide due to asphyxia, due to hanging.
So it's a preliminary conclusion.
As I said, it's preliminary.
What happens next with the body?
What was he doing at 10:30? Did the wife tell you what he was doing when she was
I'm not going to release that information as to what Mr. Williams may have been doing at 10:30 last night when she went to bed. Yes, she went to bed at approximately 10:30 p.m. She then left the home in the morning, as I indicated, and then she returned to the home once Mr. Williams returned to the scene. I've already stated that. It's going to be in the written statement.
Do you have any information about funeral arrangements?
Over here. Funeral arrangements. Funeral arrangements are a decision of the family, and we are not going to comment on what the family's decisions are as to who they're using, how that's going to proceed. What I can tell you is that the remains are no longer at the Napa County Sheriff's Office, and that's a family issue, and we're not at liberty to release that information.
Have you confiscated any of his computers or phones?
Do we use an inventory? Was he in a different frame at the time?
Last question.
With the inventory?
Actually, one question after this. He was in a room in the home.
Inventory.
He was in a room in the home at this time. That's all we're going to say. Last question.
Any further
suicide by deposition is an intentional
Hard
act.
to accidentally fall to a belt suspender.
Last question over here.
Maybe the seated, just explain to us for that the little why he would be seated if it was hanging, and I'll have you explain that.
The best way to describe his position when we found him, when we examined him.
Can you step to the mic?
The best way to describe his position is to, in essence, say he was in a seated position, suspended slightly above the ground. What that means is his body is in a position that looks like he's sitting in a chair. Slightly off the ground, suspended from the belt that was wedged between the door and the door frame that was placed around his neck. Okay, that's all we have for today. Any further updates in the interim will be issued to marinsheriff.org on the press page. But when we have final summary discovery to release, that will be through a press conference. We will provide 24 hours notice for that press conference. I will respond to emails. I ask for your patience in responding to those emails. Understand I am looking at them and I will respond to them.
Do you have a guesstimate as to when that will be? The final?
Several weeks. Toxicology takes a minimum of 2 to 6 weeks. And it would be presumptive of us to release any final findings until we have all of our toxicology studies concluded. Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Have a good day.